Lethem. I'm so happy tonight. I'm back in Guyana's 9th tongue. I am back in the jewel of the South, Lethem. I am back in Guyana's largest region, the Rupununi. A region that is bigger than the Republic of Costa Rica. This is Guyana's most promising province. And we are going to bring development to the Rupununi because you are going to vote for us on the 2nd of March 2020 and let that development continue. You know, I was so happy when I came here on the 20th of October 2017, a day to remember in the Rupununi, a day Lethem became a tongue. No more Ireng Sawariwao NDC. No more Ganga Prasad coming to install an IMC. No more sleepy border village. Now we have a booming tongue, the capital of the biggest region in Guyana, the tongue of Lethem. Lethem has moved alongside New Amsterdam and Linden, alongside Anna Regina. Lethem is moving to become the brightest park in the south, the brightest tongue in the south of Guyana. And we will see the progress that will take place after the 2nd of March. A booming tongue. Phones, water, street lights. A booming tongue with visitors from the north and south. You heard the languages, the Makushi, the Wapishan. All the people who represent the complex identities of the Rupununi population. But we have to do much more work. But first of all, we have to recognize how this all came about in such a short time. It came about because of the APNU+AFC administration.
Moving forward together. Don't stop the progress.
It came about because in May 2015, people like you voted for APNU+AFC to become the government of this country. Without us being in office, this would not have happened. We care about you. We care about every region of this country. We care about Lethem. That's why we made you a tongue. Never forget, May 2012. I study history, you know what happened in May 2012? Ganga Prasad come here, ask Terence Boston what he did. He removed and elected NDC from Ireng Sawariwao and installed an IMC. You picketed and you protested and you pleaded with the government, but they didn't care about you. Learn that lesson from the PPP. You elected leaders of this NDC and they're removed without blinking an eyelid. It's not going to happen again in Lethem or anywhere else in this country.
Moving forward together. Don't stop the progress.
Believe me, with the PPP, pickets don't matter, protests don't matter, squatting don't matter. The only thing that matters is when people like you come out and vote for APNU+AFC and take power in this region. That's the only thing they know. That's the only thing they understand. They don't understand protests and placards. They understand people who know where they're going in this region. And that's what's going to happen after the 2nd of March in the Rupununi, Region 9. Political power belongs to you. You have the vote. You have the vote. A man said that flags don't win elections, votes win elections. He was right. I don't know why they put them up all these German flags around the tongue. Black, red, and gold. They don't win any election. You, with this green and gold, are going to win this election.
Moving forward together. Don't stop the progress.
My brothers and sisters, I entered politics, and I became president to improve the quality of your life. Within 10 months of getting into office, I held local government elections which the PPP couldn't hold for 20 years. I held local government elections because power belongs to you. You vote for your municipalities. You vote for your NDCs. And once I got into power, I created 4 tongues: Lethem, Mabaruma, Bartica, and Madhya. Because I care about the development of the hinterland. For the first time in history, you have a president who cares about the development of the hinterland. The hinterland has now 4 tongues. This region alone is bigger than Costa Rica. Cuyuni Mazaruni, bigger than the Netherlands. How could these huge regions be run by villages? You will never be a village again. You will be a tongue, and a booming tongue. So, my brothers, you have in the APNU and AFC a concern for the development of this country. I recognize the importance of strong regions, and we will continue to strengthen the Rupununi. We will continue to strengthen Cuyuni Mazaruni, Putaro Siparuni, and Barima Waini to bring them on par with the regions that are east of the Essequibo River. I will continue to strengthen them with technical institutes like we just opened at Bena Hill. I'll continue to strengthen them with grade A secondary schools so that children who do well don't necessarily have to go to Georgetown. They can stay right here in the Rupununi and get a first-class education. I will continue to strengthen your Chamber of Commerce and Industry to develop commerce and industry in this region. I will continue to strengthen them by providing a magistrate's court so you don't have to wait years to go to Georgetown. A good public hospital right here so you don't have to go to Boa Vista and Bonfim to get high-class treatment. I will improve the airstrip so that you get larger and faster aircraft to take you to other parts of the world. This will be, you don't have to go to Eugene Caraya. You don't have to go to Chetty Jagan. You can come to your own airstrip, your own aerodrome, and go to the Caribbean. That is what is going to happen to the Rupununi.
Moving forward together. Don't stop the progress.
My brothers and sisters, I haven't come here on an election campaign. I have come here to tell you what we have been doing and the plan that we are going to continue to implement after the second. This is a continuous process. And I'm telling you, my brothers and sisters, you know what has happened in the Rupununi. We have a plan of action for regional development, PARD. But let me tell you something. In this country, there are 3 levels of government. You have the municipal government, the municipal town council, and then you have the RDC, the Regional Democratic Council, and at the top, you have the central government. So we have Mr. Sidney Alicock at the central government. We have Mr. Brian Alicock at the Regional Democratic Council, don't we? And we have the Municipal Town Council. The Alicocks got to work together. 2 sons of 1 father. We cannot have the RDC fighting the central government. If the RDC fights the central government, we got to change the RDC. Because the central government is going back. And I want you to pay attention. I don't want the RDC fighting the central government again. I don't want the municipal town council fighting the RDC or fighting the central government. We have to work together to develop this great region. And I'm telling you this, as long as the RDC is elected by the PPP, they're going to fight down the central government. We must stop it happening, and we must stop electing PPP RDCs. From the 2nd of March, we must stop electing PPP RDCs.
Moving forward together. Don't stop the progress.
We cannot progress in this region if we have an RDC who is defying the Minister of Communities, defying the central government. If you want Rupununi to move forward, you have to pay careful attention to the arithmetic. Just like the singer says, politics is not magic. Politics is arithmetic. And it is no good having APNU+AFC losing this great region to the PPP, which doesn't care about you. We have to change that. My brothers and sisters, we have a plan for the Rupununi. The Rupununi is 57,000 square kilometers, as I said, bigger than Costa Rica. We have a plan for the employment of young people. I don't want to hear that young graduates from St. Ignatius are drifting across the border to Brazil to work in restaurants and hotels. I want them to go to the institute, the technical institute in the Rupununi, to become self-employed and to establish businesses right here in the Rupununi. We have a plan for the expansion of the economy of this region. This region has boundless tourism. There are more species of birds in the Rupununi than the whole of Western Europe. We can have a magnificent tourist industry. We have a plan for energy generation. When the plant at Moka Moka became unserviceable, the PPP were arguing whether they should spend $20 million or $80 million. So between Hines and Ben, they couldn't make up their mind. So now you have no hydropower. We have made up our mind and Lethem will get hydropower. We have a plan for the extractive industries to make sure gold mining is done in a sustainable way without poisoning the waters that our villagers have to use. We have a plan for environmental protection. We have a plan for Rupununi, and we are going to implement that plan more fully than we've been doing before. We are going to convert the promises that have been made into performance. We are going to convert the potential of this great region into production. We are to convert the villages which are languishing in poverty into villages which are enjoying prosperity. That is why on the first day of this year, I declared a decade of development. You know, the PPP had a decade of decadence. I don't think you know about the decade of decadence, but that was a decade from 2000 to 2010, when there were 1,431 murders in this country. You know who's president? During that decade of decadence, a decade of death. There were 10 great massacres, including one massacre in which his own minister was assassinated, and he didn't even investigate the minister's death. Not a commission of inquiry, not an inquest. Just so the man dead and gone, just so. We cannot return to that decade of decadence. We have to move forward to a decade of development. We saw how education standards collapsed. We saw how people were migrating. But my brothers and sisters, our decade of development will turn the tide on what has been taking place under the PPP. In this region too, it will turn the tide on the mismanagement which has been taking place under PPP-run Regional Democratic Council. And my first focus is on young people, because young people will inherit this region, young people will inherit this country, young people have to inherit the earth. And my faith is with them and in them and for them. You know, in 1960s, the PNC and the UF came together to take over this country from the PPP. And there was so much youth unemployment that we set up the Guyana Youth Corps. Later, the Guyana Youth Corps was changed to the Guyana National Service. But lo and behold, the PPP come back into power. In the year 2000, the same man broke up the National Service. Broke it up. Well, I reestablished the Guyana Youth Corps. That is what real leaders do. Real leaders build. Fake leaders broke up. So we now have a Guyana Youth Corps based at Kuru. And every year that Guyana Youth Corps will be training and graduating 1,000 young men and women to come back to their communities and serve. That is what we're doing. We're building opportunities for youth.
Moving forward together. Don't stop the progress.
Don't let them come back and shut down the Youth Corps now, you know. we have to keep on running the Guyana Youth Corps for your children. My brothers and sisters, we established the Hinterland Employment Youth Service, HEYS. That is what real leaders do. Real leaders build. The fake leaders promise and don't fulfill their promises. The Hinterland Employment Youth Service under the APNU+AFC has already trained 3,800 young people, empowered them to start up their own businesses. 3,800 young people. A real leader performs, a fake leader promises. That is what the HEYS is about, performance. I haven't come here to tell you what I will do. I come here to tell you what I don't do. My brothers and sisters, we established the Sustainable Livelihood Entrepreneurial Development Program under the Ministry of Social Protection, called SLED. It is designed for young people, young men and women. So far, we have helped over 2,500 young people through grants. You hear me? Good grants, not loans, grants from the SLED. I was most impressed at the launch of SLED. A young woman from the primary school, we have it on the naming on the Essequibo Coast. You know the primary school? You don't know the primary school? It's named New Opportunity Corps. You know, we have 3 schools, a primary school at Andaniming, a secondary school at Camp Street, and a university at Mazaruni. Well, I don't want young people to go to any one of the 3. But anyhow, she told me that she is a graduate of the New Opportunity Corps. She told the whole audience. He said, yes, I come out of the New Opportunity Corps, but now, because of the APNU+AFC, because of the SLED, I am now an independent businesswoman. That's what she said in an open forum. That is what real leaders do, provide opportunities for young people. Fake leaders take away opportunities from young people. We are working for everyone. And you heard the young child. She's speaking about our public education system. Right here, you got some bicycles. What do you think I'm going to do with these bicycles? You think I'm riding to Sawariwa? You think I'm riding to Awariwa now? These are for your picnic. These are for your children. These are to help them to get to school. And since the 15th of July, 2015, we have put 30 buses on the roads. And I presented buses at Aishalton and at Anai. We have put 5,000 bicycles, and this makes 5,010 for young people to ride to school. We have a dozen boats on the rivers of this country. That is what the Public Education Transportation Service is doing. And during our next term of office, we will provide more buses, more boats, and more bicycles to get children to school. That's what we're going to do, because we care about you. Every child must go to school. Every child must find a place in school. So the Public Education Transportation Service is working for you. This is not election promise. It's been working since the 15th of July, 2015, and it will continue to work until every Guyanese child can go to school without having to paddle a canoe or walk 4 hours to get to school. That is what is going to happen in this country. We also established something you all used to call the school feeding program. Nowadays, the civil service call it the Public Education Nutrition Service, PENS. So don't tell me about school feeding, Public Education Nutrition Service, but we're serious. Hundreds of school children all over the country, particularly in the hinterland, enjoy meals provided through the Public Education Nutrition Service, the school feeding program. And this will be extended so that any child who needs to have breakfast when he or she goes to school will have something to eat. So you don't have to slump and fall down on the desk. Every child must be in school and we will do whatever is necessary in terms of meals or transportation and books to get that child to school. And we are going to launch, this is a new one, the Public Education Assistance Scheme. Some people call it the cash grants. But this will be a reward to parents who keep their children in school. If parents could show that their children have a high attendance record, they'll be paid for every day that child goes to school, up to the age of 15. So we're not paying for 35-year-old children, only 15-year-olds. And we have a public education scholarship program in which we have given scholarships to 1,888 young people, including 882 from the hinterland alone. So we are working for you. In fact, on the 15th of July, like good things happen on the 15th of July. I don't know what's going on. What's in the water? Last year, 15th of July, I was up in Turkine opening this dormitory for hinterland students. Huge dormitory, cost $185 million. So you see what we're doing for education and for young people. My brothers and sisters, this APNU+AFC administration is working hard, not just for re-election, but to enable Guyana to reach the same standard of development by 2029, the end of the decade of development that you can see in other parts of the Caribbean and around you in Brazil and other countries. We are moving Guyana into the middle income category of development. And we must use this opportunity because in the 70 years that the PPP has been in existence, it is now seeing its worst days. It is in decline, and it will fall. And it will fall because the APNU+AFC is winning the support of the majority of the people of this country.
Moving forward together. Don't stop the progress.
The PPP is in crisis. It has a leadership crisis. Even people inside the PPP don't like what's going on with the leadership. They're flaking off. They're freaking out because they don't have confidence in the leaders who have been imposed on them. The PPP has a stewardship crisis. Even when they are elected to run regions, the PPP is dividing the regions into green and gold on one side and red on the other side. That's what they're doing. They're looking after one party. Look at me. You think I can run this country for the PNC or for the APNU or for the APNU and AFC alone? I run the country for everyone. And the PPP must learn that even if they're democratically elected to a region, they cannot run it for one political party. They must run it for everyone. And they're not doing that. They're not demonstrating good stewardship. And the third reason is that they don't form partnerships. They believe in winner takes all. We form partnerships. We form a big benab. We welcome people from all parties. Right now, we have 6 parties. The AFC. We have the Guyana Action Party. We have the Justice for All Party, the National Front Alliance, People's National Congress, Working People's Alliance. All 6 of us are working together. We don't fight one another. We don't fight Dang Mati. We want to make sure that every corner of this country, every region, every race, every religion is represented. If there are differences, we will solve those differences in cabinet and in the government. But we welcome everyone in the big benab so that we can move this whole country forward. But the PPP doesn't understand what happened in May 2015 when APNU+AFC entered government. They think, and they stink. They think they can fall back in this winner takes all. That once they win, they get all the money. Once they win, they get all the power. Not so. They ain't gonna win nothing. But whatever comes to Guyana, we will share equitably among all the people of this country, all of the regions. And you all heard a young man a little earlier tonight. What he didn't tell you is that the PPP decline started after the Jagons were removed from this earth. Janet Jagan and Shelly Jagan. The PPP decline started on the Barrett Jagdeo, and the decline is unstoppable. Let me tell you this. In 1997, regardless of what you think about her, under Janet Jagan, the PPP was able to get 220,000 votes. But by 2001, she handed over. He didn't let the cup pass. He took the cup, but the cup was leaking. He took the 220,000 votes, and by 2001, it boiled up to 210. So he lost 10,000 votes. By 2006, it gone down to 182,000 votes. He lost 28,000 votes. By 2011, he gone down to 164,000 votes. He lost another 18,000 votes. You see what happened? Come on, you don't have to be a mathematician. The votes are going south, down, down, down. On the Bar Jagdeo, the PPP has been losing votes with every campaign that he ran. He doesn't seem to understand that. I understand that. APNU+AFC understand that. The PPP majorities are declining, even in their strongholds. All this talk about Region 2 and Region 3 and Region 5 and Region 6, they're losing the majorities to the APNU+AFC. Everywhere you look. You just go to the records and you'll see a true story in the talk. True story. My brothers and sisters, the coalition is the future of this country. We are going to secure majorities in all regions. But we don't run it for ourselves, we run it for you. Don't be confused by the German flags, these black, red, and yellow flags you see. Just pay attention to the green and gold flags. You'll see there's a rising tide. Everywhere in this country, APNU+AFC is building strong tongues. We're building prosperous regions. The PPP is trying to halt progress. They're trying to prevent development. Everywhere the PPP controls the RDC, listen me good, everywhere the PPP controls the RDC, they are going to try to obstruct the central government. They're going to try to obstruct the NDCs. Everywhere in this country, the APNU+AFC is building schools, opening wells. Down south, be opening wells, never before. The PPP is protesting and picketing. That's what they're doing. That's what they're good for. They're good for protest, but they're not good for performance. My brothers and sisters, we are building coalitions. We have 6 parties in the coalition already. Other people are contacting us because they like our message. They know we're not sharing out seats, we're not sharing out cabinet portfolios, but they want to be part of the change that is taking place in Guyana. We combine the best efforts of the parties of this country, those 6 parties I mentioned. We have a serious obligation to history on Monday, the 2nd of March, 2020. We have an obligation to our children, the little girl who came up here to provide a good life, a good future for her. We did not win a majority in the Rupununi in 2015. You know that very well. But let me tell you something. We are going to win a majority in 2020. We are going to win a majority in 2025. And we will win a majority in 2030 so that children like her could grow up in an education nation. Tonight, you have a lot of drones around, drones seen and unseen. But the whole of Guyana is looking at you. The whole of Guyana wants to know what Rupununi will do. The whole of Guyana is listening to these very words. They listen to Don Hastings, they listen to Vincent Henry, they listen to Sidney Allicock. They're listening to every word and syllable that we sing here today. They're listening to you. Let's give them a big shout. Rupununi! That is the roar of a jaguar. My brothers and sisters, I made Lethem a tongue because I cared about you. I came to this tongue because I know its importance to the development of this country. I have come back tonight because I have confidence in you to do the right thing on the 2nd of March. I come back tonight to encourage you to send the PPP away and to take control of this great region. Thank you for coming out, for painting Lethem in green and gold tonight. I've never seen such a magnificent crowd in Lethem in all my born days. Thank you for this encouraging performance and turnout tonight. Thank you for the support I know you will give us at the general and regional elections. Let bygones be bygones. I know what will happen next month. Thank you for ignoring those black, red, and green flags and coming out here with your gold and green flags. My brothers and sisters, from tonight on, let us organize behind APNU+AFC. Let us strategize. Let us mobilize this great region to support our program. Let us continue development in this region. For the sake of the housewives who've traveled from Yupukari, who've traveled from the south of Suriname and Awariwanao to be here with us. Let us take control of this region for the sake of our young people. Let us take control of this region for generations yet unborn, people who yearn for leadership. Can we win this region on the 2nd of March? Will we win this region? Well, let us mobilize between APNU+AFC and go out here and win this region for the sake of our children and for the sake of Guyana. Come on, let us...
Voting PPP impossible to do. We don't want PPP no